There's a viral video of a 40-year-old man who wasted his life, and he spoke about everything that he regretted. And in a 15-20 minute video, I paid real close attention because I've been someone where I want to learn from someone else's mistakes so I don't do the same thing, so I don't get the same results. And he mentioned that he wasted all of his potential, realizing that he thought that someone was coming to save him, that magically the stars will align and that he would get different results by doing the same things. And he would always be around people who didn't have the results that he wanted, and he regretted not having someone that could tell him the hard truth because he didn't want to get his feelings hurt. And only then, when he woke up, he realized that, wait, what have I actually done with my life? I realized one thing. As a man, you need to be someone who can lead, someone who can provide, and someone who can protect. So you have to embody these character traits. And I remember exactly 5 years ago, I was someone who would wake up with excuses, someone who would wake up broke, someone who would wake up feeling emotional, feeling sorry for himself, having this victim mentality, and just living the same day every single day expecting something to change. And the crazy thing is, I've always wanted to feel respected, and this is something I've never really actively spoken about, but somehow I would never feel it because I didn't feel it within myself, and I would project the way that I would feel onto others, thinking that they were judging me, but in reality, all I was doing was judging myself through the eyes of others. Everything that you want is on the other side of fear, is on the other side of those excuses. And the key to actually accomplishing a life of fulfillment, a life that you will be proud of, is on the other side of being an undeniable action taker. The truth is, most people live the most unfulfilled lives. And as a man, you have to live out your mission. You have to live out your purpose. Oh, but what is your mission? What is my purpose? You are your purpose. Because if you want to be great at anything else, you have to be the great that can complete it. Which is why I would always tell everyone, the most uncommon advice is be the best you can possibly be. Be honest with yourself. Be in the best shape that you can possibly be. Be the best that you can mentally, financially. Be the person that you would respect and admire and give that person to the world. Most people live the most unfulfilled lives, and these are the people's opinions who you are so afraid of. I remember being 18, being this awkward kid that I would want to express myself, but I did not like controversy. I did not like there to be arguments. So whenever I wanted to say something, I would quiet myself. So every time I had a thought and I wanted to say something, I would just keep it to myself and I would lose my voice. Every time I lost my voice, I lost my confidence and I would shrink myself into a ball. So guess what? I didn't believe in myself. I always had constant doubt. So whenever I wanted to do anything else, I would enter it with the same amount of doubt, and I had very little self-esteem and I had very little self-belief. And that's why I couldn't really go out there and achieve anything else, because I used to think, well, if everyone wants to achieve it, what makes me think that I can achieve it? Let me be realistic. But then I realized that realistically, everything is saturated with the most mediocre and weak people. The moment you tell them the truth, they get in their feelings, start to get defensive. But in reality, they need to see that the problem isn't them, it's their systems, their limiting beliefs, which are making them do the same things. The moment that they want to accomplish these big goals and it gets kind of hard, they feel sorry for themselves, so they avoid the hard work, which guess what? It leads to boredom. And what does boredom lead into? Into vice, into lust. And that's why I always say, if you are a man, I don't care how strong you think you are. I don't care how successful you think you are. But if you have no self-control, you are not a successful man, which is why I am doing this video. How can you enjoy getting these same results? Try something different. You already don't like your current reality. But whenever I would do that, all of a sudden, they'll get defensive and start making excuses. I didn't see it then, but I see it now. That's why I am now a kind person. I'm not a nice person. I'm not going to tell you what you need to hear. I'm going to be a kind person because I'm going to make you aware of your own self-sabotage and bullshit behaviors, because I want you to actually change. I want you to realize that, wait, I'm not the problem. My choices are the problem. And it's a choice that I'm in this shit position, because all of a sudden when I want to make these big drastic changes, I want different results, well, I'm not going to get them straight away. It's going to feel very unnatural, because doing the natural things is avoiding all of the hard work, making the easiest choices, and living a life of regret. You need to live a life of fulfillment, a life of purpose. Like I mentioned before, you are your purpose, and it's always going to be very uncomfortable. You are confusing what life is. You think life is meant to be happiness. Happiness is a consequence of your purpose. Doing things which are very uncomfortable, because peace is what you should be chasing. Because when you go out and work out, you don't enjoy the workout. I don't enjoy working out, but guess what? I feel peace because I realized that that was what I was meant to do. Now I'm in good physical shape, I am healthy, and I'm someone who respects themselves. No one wants to go out there, face rejections. No one wants to go out there and make themselves look like a fool in the moment. But guess what? You feel peace because you know you've done what you had to do, and now you are building, creating something that you've always wanted to create. But everyone chooses the narrow road, the wide road. Everyone wants everything easy, which is why it is so easy to win nowadays. You just have to be someone that does what most people don't want to do, then you get different results. But guess what? You are going against masses. Most people look at you like you're crazy. Most people start to laugh at you, criticize you. But then remember one thing, the person that is criticizing you, do you want to be like them? You don't. So stop trying to impress people that you don't want to be like and start impressing the people that you do want to be like. And I can almost guarantee you 99% of the time, they will always push you forward, which is why I am pushing you forward. Because I don't see you for who you are. I see you for who you can be. And you can be someone so much greater than your stupid excuses. You need to understand this. At the age of 25, I was someone who had no career path. I was someone who was just chasing women. I was someone who was just chasing fun. I would always say yes to everything just to avoid doing the uncomfortable shit. I'll do that later. I know I'm meant for greatness. As soon as I hit the age of 25, I realized, oh shit, I'm in the same place. I have no career path. What the fuck am I doing with my life? And at that moment, then I realized I need to do something different, because if you want different results, you have to do things differently. No matter how much you overthink, no matter how much you manifest, no matter how much you pray, God willing, God wants you to do it. But do you want to do it? And that's the thing. Stop avoiding the hard work and stop being a weak, bland man. Be someone who can actually create everything that you want. Because if you want to be a leader, you have to be someone that can lead. The question is, are you that person? 99% of the time, you are not, because you think it's a destination. Nothing in life is a destination. It will always be a journey. What does that mean? It will always be a daily choice. I am not in shape because I decided just today I'm in shape and I'm going to stay like that forever. I don't have a successful business and think, well, my business is going to be successful forever. I constantly have to put the reps in. So you have to do a mental rewiring to make you accustomed to doing things differently and have it at a new standard. Because you think, oh, but I've done hard work today. I don't have to do it tomorrow. What you done yesterday, it doesn't matter. What you do tomorrow, it doesn't matter. It's all about what you do today, because today is the only day that exists. This is why I made the elevation protocol, to help you fall into your systems, because most people rely on motivation of how they feel. You have to remove that decision fatigue. You need to stop thinking, because thinking is what's leaving you in that situation where you don't want to be in. Oh, but if I do this, well, is this going to be this? Well, stop listening to yourself, because that hasn't done you any good. Look at where it's leaving you. Oh, I can do it myself. Well, if you would have done it yourself, you would have done it already, but you haven't. So you keep on falling to the same old systems which aren't benefiting you. So drop your ego, listen to me for once, because I have the discipline that you need. Because the moment you have this discipline, you can apply this consistency into everything else. So what is the elevation protocol? The first thing that you need to do is you need to wake up at an uncomfortable time. 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. before the sun rises. Oh, but that is so stupid. Why do I need to wake up at an early time? For the very simple reason that you don't want to and you don't have to. It's going to be very uncomfortable. Your emotions are going to be telling you otherwise, and that voice comes up. You don't need to do that. The voice of negotiation. You don't negotiate with yourself from today on forward. Wake up at an uncomfortable time. That teaches you to not negotiate with your emotions and do what you have to do regardless of how you feel. The second thing is you need to start reading self-help books. You need to start to self-develop. See things from a different perspective. Oh, but why do you have to do that? Because everything in life is perspective. It all starts in the mind. Oh, but what do you mean? This sounds like some stupid shit. No. What does that actually mean? Well, it means that everything stems from a feeling, because a feeling creates a thought. The thought creates a picture, and that picture leads to an action. And when you consistently get that feeling, you consistently create that picture, you consistently take that action, it becomes a habit, and that habit creates that result, which is what you're doing now. You're in a habit loop, which is creating that same feeling, which creates that same thought, which creates that same action, which creates that same result. Now, at the end of that result, ask yourself, what feeling am I getting? Am I feeling regret, guilt, or am I feeling fulfillment, and am I feeling like I'm doing the right thing? So that's what you have to change. You have to realize where it's happening, what you're feeling, and what you're doing. And then once you get to the point where at a certain point you feel like doing a certain action that you know is going to lead to a result that you regret, That's when you have to now fall back to the 5 a.m. mentality where it's just, wait, I done what I had to do regardless of how I feel. Then you override that behavior, and then all of a sudden you create a new habit which creates a new result. You have to go to the gym every single day because the pump is the cure. Because there are going to be days where you're going to be filled with doubt. There are going to be days where you're going to feel emotional. We are humans. You're going to feel sad. You're going to feel upset. But how do you show up anyway? Because you are not your emotions. You are your identity. And who are we choosing to be? The person that you are going to be proud of. And what does that person that you're going to be proud of do? Well, he always shows up regardless of how he feels. Because to lead, you have to not rely on your emotions. You have to rely on your mission. What is your mission? Always moving forward. So what do you have to do? Well, go to the gym every single day. Get into the best shape that you can possibly be. Oh, but why do I have to do that? Because you remove that decision fatigue. It is positive self-talk through positive self-action. Going to the gym, showing up, it's an action, which at the end of it, it gives you clarity. And then after that clarity, with these other tasks that you have to do, you can go ahead and attack them. The third thing is never break character. It's like an actor. I want you to think about it. When you watch movies, you see an actor, he has to read the role, he has to see how he talks, speaks, everything, he embodies it until he actually becomes it. And there will be certain cases as certain actors that they're so deep into this role that they forget how to act like themselves, which is why you have to have this clear identity of who you want to be like. Does the future you go drinking? Does he just sleep in all of the time? Does he have meaningless sex? Is he a loser? Is he someone that wakes up at the age of 40 with deep regret? I don't think so. So embody how your future self would be and live like that person every single day. Now, when that emotion comes in, ask yourself, what would my future self do in this moment? Which is why I always say, never break character. The fourth thing is you need to learn a skill. You need to start creating anything. What is this thing that you always realize that I have an unfair advantage in? What is something that I can learn and keep on growing so I can start creating? Because once you learn a skill, that's where you have to translate the uncomfortable, the 5 a.m. wake up time. I don't want to do it, but I know I need to do it, into that skill, because you know there's a positive outcome at the end of it, because your purpose is peace. Because when you do the uncomfortable, you realize that you're growing something that's important. Then what you have at the end of it, peace. You have to be building, you have to be creating. We were made by a creator. We are made to create. And that's why most people feel stuck, because they are not doing anything, which is why I tell you that your purpose is the feeling of feeling fulfilled. As a man, what does everyone want to do? You want to retire your parents. But why do you want to retire your parents? Because, okay, they don't have to work. But the real reason why you want to retire your parents is because you want to feel fulfilled, that you managed to do something. So the feeling of fulfillment, you don't have to wait till that time. That's most people's excuses. What's going to make you feel fulfilled is realizing that every single day before you lay your head on that pillow is that you done everything that you knew you had to do to get closer to that person that you're going to be. And that's the only thing that you can control. Because think about it, the reason you get these doubts, the reason you get these anxieties is, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make this shit happen, but how is it going to happen with the things that you do? So remember what I told you at the start of the video, action. Action is the answer, because when you don't take action, you start to create doubts. When you start to create doubts, it starts to create fear. Fear is an image of a worst case scenario of something in the future. The future doesn't exist because you don't even know if you're going to wake up tomorrow. So once you take action, it removes fear, because now you took one step forward and it's always refining. How can you lose if you don't stop taking action? And that is the key, which is why you need the elevation protocol, because the moment you fall into that is exactly what you need to keep on going. That is the key. How do you stay consistent? How do you stay resilient? Because you lack so much self-accountability, and I'm here to give that to you now. So I want to give you 3 secrets to break your limiting beliefs. You can't do more than what you believe you can do. The law of exposure, once seen, it can't be unseen. Now, this is exactly what I'm going to tell you. The first one, you don't need to feel ready. You're never going to feel ready. It's not a feeling. It's a decision that you make. Starting and doing the thing is going to make you feel ready. The thing that you're most afraid of is you're afraid of failure. You're afraid of making mistakes. So what you do, you're always thinking, planning, but planning isn't actually doing it. You don't have any real-time feedback. It's like trying to learn how to swim by reading a book on learning how to swim. You won't ever learn on theory. It's like trying to build a plane. I can tell you, ChatGPT, how to build a plane, but it doesn't mean I know how to build a plane. So secret number 2 is, we spoke about this already. Change your habits. That changes your identity. So to change the man, you have to change your habits. And to change your habits, remember, it all stems in the mind, because your feelings create a thought. That thought creates a picture, and that picture creates an action, and that action creates a reward, a result. So the more that pattern happens, guess what? It turns into a habit. So how can I control this feeling? Because whenever you feel sad, do you act what sadness feels like? So how can you make sure that you're always on a high frequency state? Well, the way that you're always on a high frequency state is make sure that you have positive self-talk through positive self-action, making sure you don't live a life of regret, always listening to your conscience. Most of the time it's going to be uncomfortable, which is why you need to accustom yourself to do very uncomfortable things. And the third thing is discipline gives you freedom. The magic that you're looking for is in the work that you are avoiding. And don't give up until you see that magic happens, because most people run on motivation. I feel motivated, I can see that it can happen. It's going to be very easy. The thing is just being able to do the simple things consistently, which makes it hard. Why? Because you end up getting in your own head. Doubt starts entering the mind. When doubt starts entering the mind, you start to feel demotivated, you start to feel sad. So guess what you start to do? You start to think differently. When you start to think differently, you start to do differently, then you get different results. And eventually what happens, like we mentioned at the start, we stop taking action. That's why the key here is to be someone who's a relentless action taker. Detach yourself from the result, which is why I always tell you, don't let a win get to your head, don't let a loss get to your heart, because that changes the way that you feel, which eventually changes the way that you take action. It's always about trying to remain as neutral as possible. How quickly can I get to baseline to continuously take? You have two choices. Don't overcomplicate it. You have the life that you would love to live a life of fulfillment, of purpose, of achieving all those dreams that you've always wanted to, those things that make you feel alive. Or you can live a life that you would hate to live, a life waking up at 40, completely wasting your potential, realizing that you could have been someone but you were afraid of taking action, that you liked comfort, that you had no discipline, that you just wanted to go out on the weekends, get drunk and have fun in the moment. Then realizing that, wait, fun was never the answer. It was always going to be hard. So which heart are you choosing? The heart of regret or the heart of discipline? And I can tell you which one has a bittersweet taste to it, which is why I tell you, what are you willing to do? That's why I created my coaching program, the Elevation Protocol, because I want you to reach your full potential. I don't ever want you to wake up at the age of 40 looking back, realizing that, wait, I just wasted my life. I did nothing. I wanted to play it safe. I wanted to do the same things. Oh, I'm going to do it alone. If you knew how to do it, you would have already done it by now. Most of the time, your biggest problem is that you know it all, yet you do nothing. To do and to know and not do is to not know. That is the biggest form of self-sabotage, because knowledge isn't power. Applied knowledge is power. To know and not do the action is torture. So if you're done feeling weak, if you're done making excuses, if you're done living underneath your potential, if you're done disrespecting yourself, click the link below to book a call with me to see if I can help you on your journey. Now you have two choices. You could watch this video and have it fill you with dopamine, that now you have the answers, and go back and do the same things and let 10 years go by and wake up at the age of 40 making a video of how much you wasted and how much you regret your life. Or you can take action now, do everything that you know that you're meant to do. Book a call with me below or start taking action now. Now you know what you have to do. The only question is, are you willing to do the work?